the 4th of December, 1941. The temperature has plummeted even further over the last 2 weeks. The Luftwaffe's activity has also declined, presumably because they must be having problems with the extreme conditions. We've encountered a few patrols of fighters that quickly disengaged after spotting us, and the occasional flight of enemy bombers, frequently unescorted, and easy pickings for the squadron. Fritz's troops on the ground are continuing their advance, but without their usual umbrella of air cover, our Sturmoviks and Peshkas have been running amok with little resistance. Oddly enough, it seems that the Italians came better prepared because it's them we've seen the most. Goering's Abwehr gang have been seemingly grounded for the most part, while the Italian Machis fill in for them, albeit not very successfully. Up north, in Murmansk, I'm told it's an almost perpetual night by now, and all flying has halted completely. I believe I'm the only member of 151 Wing still doing active duty. On that note, my remaining time here grows very short. The last boat back to Blighty leaves in a few days, and assuming I'm on it, today's sortie will be my last with the men and women of the 157th. I'll be frank, it doesn't seem right to leave now, not when so much hangs in the balance. I suppose that really, though, my job is done here. Captain Sharonov is perfectly qualified to take over as OC for the regiment, with Alexei Ashevsky as his second in command. But still, it doesn't feel right, leaving them in the lurch like that, with the Jerry still so close to the capital. I have to admit, not a lot of us were ecstatic about this assignment in the beginning. One can hardly pretend that the Russians were very popular back home after what they did to the Finns. And yet, nobody is more surprised than I to discover how reluctant I am to go in the end. It's going to be very strange being back in Manston, sipping a beer at the local after a foray over the channel. It's a much more civilized kind of war, I suppose, but seems so damned unimportant compared to what's going on over here. Well, regardless, orders are orders. I'd better make this last sortie a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to IL-2 Battle of Moscow, and today we're not starting on the runway because this video requires a bit of a preamble, I'm afraid. So, the current date in-game is the 4th of December 1941. There's been a bit of a gap between this mission and the last one in terms of the in-game time. Now, there's a reason for that. I've actually flown a couple of missions in that time, but they didn't get turned into episodes. Now, why is that, you might wonder? And the answer is because I ran into some serious problems. And I have fixed those problems now, and I'm going to share the solution with you. Just give me a moment. So, the issues I was running into was that I did 2 missions in a row where we were doing air patrols over the lines. And we were encountering a lot of, I think the first mission we encountered some unescorted Ju-88 heavy fighters. And they're incredibly easy to kill. Problem was, they were incredibly easy for me to shoot down, although in truth I only shot down one of them. The other 2 were so damaged. The other 2 I managed to damage and I ran out of ammo. Problem was, it wouldn't have been an issue if it weren't for the fact that my AI comrades were refusing to engage in combat. They just wouldn't do it. All they would do, they would either follow me around, or I could tell them to patrol, and then they'd just fly in circles directly above the enemy and wouldn't do anything. Even weirder than that, they would actually call out the targets they wanted to attack, but they wouldn't actually do anything. They'd be like, oh, engaging enemy fighter, 10 o'clock low, 1 kilometer. And then they wouldn't do anything. I was like, what the hell is going on? And I thought to myself, I don't know, maybe it's just a one-off glitch. I've had this happen before in the past, and it's just been weird, and I've never been able to figure out what the issue is. It's just very rare, never seems to happen normally. It's just whatever. Okay, fine. It was very silly. I had a Ju-88 heavy fighter chasing me around the map, and my squadron was refusing to do anything about it. It was a bit like, I felt like they were playing a practical joke on me. It was all completely silly. Totally immersion breaking. So I did that mission. I was like, whatever, okay, fine. Go to generate the next mission. I did a bunch of tweaks. I changed the number of aircraft in the flight that I was using. I changed the AI settings and the configuration here. I thought maybe my friend's AI was set too low, and therefore they were being incredibly timid. That wasn't the issue, as it turned out, because we did another mission, and I intercepted a bunch of unescorted Stukas, and once again, I engaged the Stukas. My AI comrades flew around doing F all. Just flying in circles, not engaging the Stukas. And, yeah. I shot one of them down, flew home, landed, and was sat there just in disbelief at what was going on. And then I thought back to the previous missions. I thought, you know what, some of the ground attack missions have been like this as well. We've just flown in there. I've attacked the ground targets, and the AI has just not. They've circled around and done bugger all. And I was like, what the hell's going on? What the heck is wrong with... Is it something wrong with the game, with the latest patch? Is it something wrong with PWCG? Like, what's the issue here? I could not figure it out. I spent ages trawling through the IL-2 forums, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. This doesn't seem right. Eventually, in the known issues thread, I came across a post that mentioned that there has always been an issue with PWCG, whereby friendly AI becomes incredibly reluctant to engage in combat with the enemy if you don't fly over the ingress waypoint. And I thought to myself, oh man, that explains so much. Because it explains why, for example, I've never had problems with passive AI not attacking anyone when I've not been the squadron leader, and I've been following someone else. Because when you're following someone else, they always fly over the ingress waypoint. And I thought, oh man, that's unbelievable. Really? Is it that? And I thought, it must be that. And so, yeah, I decided, right, we'll give this a try. I loaded up the mission I did previously, the one with the Stukas, and I jumped in, took my flight that I was using previously, did everything the same as I did before, just for, for science. Make sure nothing was changed. Took the same pilots and everything, same settings, flew out there, made sure I crossed the waypoint, the ingress waypoint. And sure enough, we crossed the ingress waypoint, and I can see the Stukas in the distance as well, like they're fairly visible dots on the horizon at this point. And we're flying along, and my guys are ignoring them. And the ingress waypoint on this particular mission was placed a bit weirdly. I had to fly past the enemy to get to the ingress waypoint, and the entire time we're flying past the enemy, my comrades are doing nothing. They're just dutifully holding formation with me. We pass the ingress waypoint, and sure enough, the whole squadron immediately breaks off to go and attack the Stukas. I'm like, is this for real? Is this actually happening? I turn off, I follow them. I decided to fly on the wing of one of my guys and just follow him in and not do any shooting myself. And man, guys, I tell you, there were practically tears of joy rolling down my face when my guys started absolutely tearing the Stukas a new one and shot all three of them down without any input from me. I was so freaking happy. So everybody, the ingress waypoint, as it turns out, in Pat Wilson's campaign generator, is monstrously important. You must not skip it or fly past it or anything like that. You must ensure that you always fly over the ingress waypoint. Otherwise, your friend's AI just goes into tumbleweed dumbass mode and won't engage any enemies in combat. I'm thinking back now to all the casualties that might have been avoided because of this, and it makes me shudder. So anyway, here we are, 4th of December, 1941. Let's go mission. Let's generate a mission. Let's do this the old-fashioned Gaston way where I show you the whole mission generation. Let's see. Patrol airspace near Solodilvo. Engage any enemy aircraft you encounter. 4 pilots assigned. I will, for giggles, make it 6 pilots assigned, I think. Because that's what I did last time, and I thought one of the reasons I thought maybe that things weren't working is because I assigned too many pilots to the flight, and that somehow broke the AI. Turns out, no, as I said, it's the ingress waypoint. It's this little bugger right here. This guy is the problem. So a bit like when you're doing escort missions and you absolutely must fly over the rendezvous waypoint, otherwise the escort won't escort you. In the same fashion, you must always fly over the ingress waypoint, otherwise your squadron's AI will be broken for the rest of the mission until you go back and fly over it. So I'm gonna... Oh, man. Okay, so takeoff. Climb. We got 3 climb waypoints for some reason. and then we've got ingress. And I think I want to make ingress like as close to our base as possible, so we can just fly over the ingress waypoint as soon as humanly possible, and then get it done, and have the AI be like in active mode. I'm going to have to make sure I do that every time from now on. Right. There we go. And then that seems to be our patrol route, which is fine. I'll probably loosely stick to this, because that we don't need to stick to, but the ingress waypoint is so very, very important. Let's see, who else is operating today? The 34th Fighter Air Regiment and the 495th Fighter Air Regiment are operating today. So it looks like I-16s and more I-16s doing patrols along the whole line. So the sky is going to be swarming with Soviet fighters today, which is marvellous. I should mention, I've currently upgraded to the latest version of Pat Wilson's campaign generator. As of current recording, version 14 is officially out of beta and available, and I am now using it for the remainder of the campaign. Hopefully it doesn't have any issues or it doesn't break or anything like that. I've just copied the campaign across to the new version. If it doesn't work, I can roll back to the old one, no problems. But hopefully it should be fine, because I think with version 14, all of our squadron mates should have like numbers assigned to their aircraft and stuff, as in they'll have numbers stenciled on the side of their planes. Like we have 56 on the side of ours, they'll have numbers on theirs too, squadron markings, etc., with using the new decal system. I hope, possibly. They might not. I don't know. We'll see. Right, waypoints. Cool. I think one is quite high up on this one by the looks of things. 9:30 start is fine. That'll be still relatively dark-ish. Not like properly dark, but like it'll still be around like sunrise-ish, I think, possibly this time of year at this latitude. Pilots. Okay, so we've got Jimmy Wallace, Yaroslav, Vladimir, Philip. I shall add Natasha and Vasily to that total. Payload is going to be Browning 303 times 4 extra ammo. And the air filter, synchronized payload for everybody. Accept mission. Away we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall see you for takeoff. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to go, and check it out. Zoom over here. Whoa, God, the camera controls are a bit funky sometimes. Check it out. People have numbers on their planes now. We've got 67 over here. We got 15. Now, I'm curious, actually. I'm wondering if the numbers are based on the plane or the pilot, because both are tracked separately in PWCG. It would be nice to sort of know, or possibly find out, which pilot has which number, potentially. And we can identify them in flight, Mind you, the black numbers on the brown and green camo is a little bit tricky to see. We could have gone with white or possibly grey there, if I'm honest with you. What probably would have looked better, but I know that's probably what they historically looked like, to be fair, so whatever. Right. Oh, one other thing I want to do before we set off is I want to adjust my gun sight, because I always forget to do that. Target base size set to 32 feet. And set this to 219 yards is what I want, more or less. 218 will do. There we go. The gun sight, I've been over this before in the past in the Gaston Let's Play, but if you haven't watched that, in case you're wondering how the British gun sight actually is supposed to work, is you set the wingspan of the enemy target and the range you want to shoot them at, which in this case happens to be the range that my guns are set to converge at. The gunfire is set to converge at from another plane. Once you set that up, you see you've got the two horizontal bars in the middle of the gun sight, the gap between them, once the enemy's wingspan fills that gap, that's when you open fire, and you should get a perfect direct hit on where you're aiming. Obviously you've got to pull lead for it, but the bullet should land directly in the middle on the pipper, more or less. And that's how you're supposed to use it. So if you've got chasing a 109 who's got a wingspan of 32 feet, and I've set it for 32 feet, then once his wing tips touch the edges of the horizontal bars, that's when you want to pull the trigger, theoretically. Anyway, it never really works out like that in practice, but it's nice to set it up just for a little bit of visual aid. Let's get going, shall we? And indeed, as you can see, it's pretty much sunrise at 9:30 because it's the winter. And my ultraviolet glowy instruments are actually still glowing and ultraviolet-y because it's still just about dark enough. Alright, gear up. propeller pitch. Wind that back a bit. Dial back the throttle. Close the old canopy. And, as we discussed, make extra special sure we fly over the ingress waypoint. Pretty much all the waypoints leading up to it too wouldn't hurt either. So, ladies and gentlemen, oh god, it's a bit turbulent, isn't it? We are moving around like we're dancing right now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as the squadron catches up with me, I shall leave you, and I shall rejoin you when we're in the combat area and interesting things are due to happen. Alright, boys and girls, there's a couple of dots out in front. I'd be very surprised if you can see them on YouTube, but they're just over there where I'm pointing the camera. And I don't think they're very friendly, because radar seems to have them in red. Incidentally, since I update... Well, this is the first mission I've done with the newest version of PWCG, and, well, what can I say? The radar is a hell of a lot more reliable all of a sudden. It's been working ever since Takeoff, pretty much. So that's good to know. So, bandits. Looks like 11 o'clock. High-ish. That's a technical term for you. Now, I've flown over the ingress waypoint, although I have to admit when I hit the third climb waypoint, the mission marker, the yellow thing, skipped straight to patrol. Hopefully that isn't going to cause us any problems. I hope I didn't put the ingress waypoint too close to the climb one or something weird like that. Probably find out if our guys start to break off and do shenanigans, because if they break off and do shenanigans, that means their AI is working. I see one dot out there. There were two, but... Oh wait, no. There is still two. It's just from a distance they look like one dot. It's two dots next to each other. Again, you probably can't see any of it on YouTube, so you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm pretty much just going to keep flying towards it. Oh boy, okay, we've got lots of red dots now. Some blues and friendlies up to the north. You can see some contacts up high. Brambling, fighter spotted 2 o'clock, low engage out. Okay, Brambling's one of the fighter squadrons in the air. One of the friendly ones, I mean. Okay, I see 2 dots in front of me, the ones who've been chasing. They're moving now, left to right. They seem a lot closer. I see contacts up high, 2 of them. They're kind of large. They could be enemy bombers. I think one of them's contrailing, actually. In fact, both are. It's so cold, they're able to contrail even at relatively low altitude. Flak seems to be shooting at them as well. What side of the lines are we on right now? Well, yeah, judging by the radar, they're probably enemies. Unfortunately, the front lines aren't showing up still. They're a bit bugged, unless I zoom right out. Oh boy. Incoming! Guys? Orders. Attack nearest air target. If you aren't already. Looks like a matchy to me. Oh yeah, everyone's mixing it up. Stuff is happening, officially. I don't know what the wingspan of a matchy is, but if it's similar to a 109, we might be able to line this up quite nicely. We just need a bit more speed. There he is. Using that impressive speed and rate of climb against me. Not as impressive as a 109's, but still pretty good. However, if he keeps turning, he's going to be in some bother, and I think there's a couple of Hurricanes going after him as well. Okay, what were you just flew past? Right, that's one of ours. Everyone's ganging up on him. Marvellous. That's what I like to see. Matchy going over the top of us, diving down. Looks like I'm going to switch to this guy. Everyone else is chasing the other fella. Oh, Jesus Christ, I ended up going straight under his guns. Alright, you little bastard, come here. Oh boy, my shooting is bad today, apparently. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hello. Hello there. Yep, you've got a friend. I'm aware of this now. Come on, guys. Give a guy a hand. I thought you had this dude in the bag. First engine damaged. Well, that's not good. Seem to have managed to reverse this. I just hope his friend doesn't sneak up on me. Oh boy, I'm trailing fluid. That's not good. This guy's getting away. Jesus Christ. Hello. I can't tell what's friendly and what's a goddamn Italian right now. You look friendly. Oh, my windstream's starting to get all scugged up. That's not good. I'm gonna have to get out of there, I think, at this rate. Should head north. We're over enemy territory right now. Come on, guys, it's one friggin' matchy. You can deal with a matchy. Get it together. Is that him right there? By Jove, it is. Alright, I'm not interested in being shot in the face. Cannot. My aim is sucking today. Somebody deal with this guy. For goodness sake. Alright, they finally are. Brilliant. Get in there, man. Chew them to bits. Now, one thing to know about the friendly AI, because they're all novices, their aim is going to suck, but apparently not enough. Oh, that was beautiful. Well done, whoever that was. He is absolute toast. You've taken his tail off. Oh, fantastic. Let's get out of here. Rook 2 target destroyed. Well done, Rook 2. You absolute legend. Right, I need to get this wounded plane home. Are there any enemies still around, or have we got them both? I think we've got them both. Orders. Cover me. I need to get this thing over the lines before the engine conks out. Look at the state of my wings. Luckily, the patrol waypoints on this particular mission mark out the lines quite nicely. Unfortunately. Doesn't seem to be a lot of friendly air bases around in the vicinity. Trying to figure out where the nearest one is. Ugh. Watch my back, everybody. I'm looking at the map. Nearest friendly airfield might actually be home. It's either home or Solodivovo. But no, that's in no man's land. Yeah, I think we want to head for home, looks like. I want to go over the friendly side at least, so if I do have to bail out or crash land it in a field somewhere, it will be in a friendly field. Oh man. I tell you what though, what a difference, eh? I made sure we flew over the Ingress waypoint, and as if by magic, the squadron suddenly became competent. Although, I gotta be honest, I hesitate to use the word competent, because really it was 5 of them plus me versus 2 matches, I think, and the matches still gave us a run for our money. So... at least you tried, guys. I mean, in fairness, you do have the inferior fighter aircraft. I mean, I say inferior. I'm loath to say inferior. The Hurricane is glorious. But you do have the slower aircraft with a poorer climb rate. And your guns suck. So... yeah, I think under the circumstances you did alright. Brambling 2 is wounded. What's happened to you, Brambling 2? I don't see you anywhere on the radar. Must be in a fight somewhere we don't know about. Well. Can you imagine, though, and I don't need to imagine because I've seen it, but can you imagine for a moment that instead of Browning machine guns, our companions here were armed instead with, you know, 4 20mm cannons, for example. Imagine how much more quickly they might have dealt with those matches. And like I said, I don't need to imagine. I've seen it happen. You give the AI Hurricanes 4 20mm cannons, they will destroy everything in their path. It is quite fantastic to watch. It's part of what makes the German AI quite good at what it does, honestly. Not only is the AI very good at flying 109s for some reason versus all the other aircraft, but the Germans have very, very good cannons. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I trail smoke and fluid and all of that, I think we're leaking glycol right now and probably fuel as well. Judging by the contents of my port tank right now, I would say yes, we are probably leaking quite a bit of fuel. So as I distribute my chemtrail across the upper atmosphere, I shall leave you and return either for the landing back at home or when I ditch in a field. One of the two. Alright folks, the airfield is right over there. I'm coming down to land. Things are going to be a little bit touch and go though. You may have noticed the radiator temperature in the bottom right there, the little dial, has gone to the maximum of 140 and probably beyond, which is not good. The maximum rating for this thing is 120, just for reference. I think actually possibly 130 with the Merlin 20. So probably just about any moment the engine could cough its last and die, in which case we're going to be gliding in dead stick. So I really need to get this thing down as soon as possible. Oil's at a nice temperature though, at least. Right, ladies and gentlemen, orders, return to base. But I get to land first, for reals this time. Like, seriously, I need to land first. Okay, I'm gonna... Okay, emergency landing maneuvers right now. Need to bleed some speed. Gonna fly a curved approach like we're a Spitfire and a carrier. Gear down. Come on. Flaps. Okay, carrier... Spitfires on carriers don't fly approaches quite that curved. Has to be said. But I think I've managed to bleed off all the necessary speed. Now I just gotta land without running out of runway. Come on, don't float it. Now is not the time for floating. Boosh. Alright. We're down. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. God, those matches really messed me up, didn't they? I was just flying target practice for them while the rest of the squadron tried to get on their sixes. My God. If that had been instead of 2 matches, it was 4 109s, I think I'd be dead right now. My situational awareness was pants. The problem was everything looked like a matchy, and everything looked like a hurricane. It was actually really hard to figure out what the hell was going on. Flaps up. Whew, what a day. Engine off. It's probably going to cough and splutter a bit, isn't it? Yes, it is. Well, should we inspect the damage? Okay, yep, fairly safe to say. We've taken a few hits here and there. It's honestly probably a very good thing that none of the cannon shells landed anywhere terribly vital. There's one cannon hit in the wing there, that dirty great golf ball sized hole. Yeah, they did a number on us, didn't they? It's practically a friggin' drive-by, goddamn Italians. Mafia of the skies at the moment, those guys. They started off in this campaign as being a bunch of incompetent idiots, and now they've matured quite nastily. Look, you can see the fuel leak. Oh God, I apologise for that. If you just all lost your lunch, you can see the fuel leaking out of the wing there onto the tyres, and steam coming out of the radiator. Oh boy, but I tell you what, it got us home, didn't it? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sir Sidney Cam was a goddamn genius, and he made aeroplanes real good. And further to that, the Merlin engine was a piece of engineering genius unequaled anywhere else. Hang on a minute, I think there's a cannon hit right above the exhaust right there. Another big stonking great hole. It carried on working in spite of all that, though. I think, yeah, I think we might have to borrow one of the other Hurricanes for the next mission. While poor old Boris gets this thing fixed up. Yeah. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Slightly terrifying pleasure at points, but it's been a pleasure. I shall leave you as the rest of these guys move into land, and I'll see you in the debriefing. Alright, here we go, folks. Continue with claims. I have none to make. No claims other than I have a very, very well-engineered aircraft, apparently. And that I'm very proud of my squadron mates today. Submit report. Every single one of them survived, by the way, in case you were wondering. They all made it back. No casualties today. Maximum information. Start debrief. Let's find out what happened. I believe a squadron of I-16s got absolutely wrecked by some 110s, tragically. That was the fight that was happening off where the radar couldn't see it. Let's see. Piero Morelli damaged us. We were damaged by Walter Farina. Oh no, we got shots into both of them at some point, but unfortunately, of course, our good old-fashioned terrible Brownings did very little damage to them. It looked like. I think I maybe got one of them leaking fuel. I think that's about the limit of all the damage I did. MC202 of 222 Gripper Catcher was brought down by Natasha. Natasha's got her first kill, finally. At least I think it's her first kill. Walter Farina was killed in action. Oh dear, what a shame, how sad. Never mind. And we were damaged again by Piero Morelli. And then we damaged him. That's when we managed to reverse that particular encounter. But again, I wasn't able to do any decent damage, and then Natasha shot him down too, huh? Well, alright then. Natasha has finally gone from a timid little sparrow to a furious and terrifying hawk, apparently, because she's she's gone from having like 20 missions with no kills to suddenly getting 2 kills in a single mission, and both of them were enemy fighters. Good gracious me. Alright then, well done, Natasha. Yes, and there's the I-16s going down. Brought down by a 110. Brought down by a 110. And brought down by a 110. Made a prisoner of war. 2 of them prisoners of war, 1 was killed. That's a shame. They were out here somewhere, I think. They were way, way off in this direction. The poor I-16s. They really... It's easy to say it, but I really feel like they shouldn't have been murdered by 110s. The Bf-110 is a death trap. It is just a dreadful aeroplane. It's dreadful enough to the point where I've considered doing a career in it. It's that much of an underdog, that thing. It's the only plane I might be convinced to do a German career in. It's that bad. But the little I-16 should have been able to run rings around them, but apparently they didn't, which is a bit of a shame. I guess we can just put it down to the Soviet pilots' lack of experience and the 110 pilots. Quite a bit of experience, I imagine. They must be veteran rated at very least, I imagine, if we were to look at the intelligence screen. Okay, debrief completed. Yep, Natasha went and blew a pair of Italians right out of the sky all by herself. Didn't need no stinking squadron, did she? She'll get a medal for that at some point. Anyway, there we go. She is officially now the squadron's most successful killer after us. Well done, Natasha. You took your sweet time. 15 missions. Right, there she is as reference, in case you were wondering. Any awards? No, just the wings. That's the logbook. Well done. Right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that was eventful and most enjoyable. I still feel a little bit embarrassed by the fact that we outnumbered those guys like 3-1, and they still kicked the crap out of me. But luckily, my chums were there to bail me out of the fire, weren't they? So, never mind. I'm just glad to see the AI doing stuff again. Honestly, I really am. I'm stoked to see my AI comrades actually achieving things, because honestly, I much prefer to see them get kills than me get kills. At the end of the day, it's not my job. I'm squadron leader. I'm not some hotshot ace that wants to get like loads and loads of kills and be the best pilot ever. I want to manage a squadron and take them through the war as successfully as possible, and I want to see them flourish. You know, I want to look at our squadron on the intelligence map and see it upgraded from novice to competent. That's my ambition in life right now. I want to click here, click 157th, and I want to see state as competent. Anyway, that's all I got to say, I think, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo.